Good night to my listeners and viewers across the globe. Tonight, especially to my listeners, the Virgin Islands and the United States. This is the Collister Fahie show. Today is February 28th, 2025. This is episode number 44. And on the hot seat tonight, the topic is Politicians and Pedophiles, Part 2. So much things happening. We will start off tonight with the United States, and then we will come back. Good night, Cheryl. Glad to have you as usual, and blessings. We'll start off with the United States, and then we will end with the USVI. So we'll make our rounds from the US and go around the globe, and then we will end with the US Virgin Islands. But first, let me say congratulations to my son Evan Foy for winning the math counts for Lockhart Elementary 7 and 8. This is another addition, since he also got my congratulations for winning the St. Thomas St. John Spelling Bee, and he's going on to the finals next month. So congratulations, Evan. Keep up the good work. Stay focused. Now we go to the United States. And of course, it's Politicians and Pedophiles, Part 2. So the Epstein files, some have been released, and many people are saying it has been a lot of a nothing burger. Even though it does have some information that, of course, is new, a lot of it is already known in the public. But the news about the Epstein files is the fact, as I said last night, there's a civil war in the government of the United States. So much so that the Attorney General had to send off a strong-worded letter to the FBI Director, Kash Patel. Pambandi sent it off to Kash Patel and saying she was informed that there are people in the FBI office in New York, the Southern District of New York, who are refusing to turn over Epstein files and evidence to the Department of Justice, to which Kash Patel quickly responded that he was going to get to the bottom of it. Any deletion of files, they will be found. Anyone caught obstructing that executive order from Trump declassifying all the Epstein evidence would be dealt with. Then we heard earlier today that apparently Kash Patel, the director, went to that office with numerous trucks, and that they were in that office all day, collecting the Epstein evidence to be declassified by the Attorney General of the United States. Mind you, I believe that Kash Patel and his numerous trucks and agents were not only getting the Epstein files, but he was also getting the Hunter Biden laptop files. He was also getting the Crossfire Hurricane files when they went after Trump. Using a fake dossier, a planted dossier, saying that Trump colluded with Russia. He's also going to get, I believe, that he's also getting the January 6th files of what really happened on January 6th. And he's also getting the P. Diddy files, also getting any information that the FBI has on any of those politicians, elected politicians, who are part of any investigation and any pending indictment that was stopped, any bribery, extortion, kickbacks that they may have been engaged in, any hush money payments, because we know that the Congress has a slush fund that pays for their sexual deviancy and keeps it from the general public. So Kash Patel and his many trucks at the FBI today, the FBI office in New York, had his hands full. And ask yourself this: why is the government officials blocking the government of the United States from getting the information that belongs to the FBI and the Department of Justice, the legal justice system of the United States, from being released to the public after they have been redacted to keep confidential, and names of minors, etc., from being exposed? It's a civil war, open civil war in the United States between the government and the government. And if you notice, President Trump has not weighed in as yet. This is the person that everybody says crazy, off the chain, petty. He hasn't said much. All you see him doing is waiting, because phase one is out. And so the new information that we learn is that there are over 254 names of people who are either masseurs, working for Epstein, who are minors and are perhaps victims. We learn some of the names of people. They're already known to the public. That wasn't new information. We learn in one day that the pedophiles may be politicians, and that politicians for sure are pedophiles. Those that are in the Jeffrey Epstein logs, and all those names, 250 plus, are going to come forward, and their names will be known, and there will be a reckoning in 2025, the year of justice. What does it bode for elected leaders who are right now in a lawsuit in the United States by 6 victims of Epstein? I believe that before this year is done, many more victims will join that lawsuit, and there will be a crescendo that cannot be undone. As I said, what we are finding out now is just the tip of the iceberg, because phase 2 will have a lot more information. Phase 3 will have even more information, and phase 4 will be the icing on top of the cake that lets every one of us in this world understand that this is a spiritual war of good versus evil. Cannot be described as anything else. The fact that you have FBI agents, government officials, bureaucrats willing to lose their jobs, to go to jail. Good night, Queen. Welcome in. Imagine people working in the government made the conscious decision to obstruct an executive order of the President of the United States, and they are willing to face criminal charges, prosecution, and even go to jail to shred, delete, obfuscate, spoliation of evidence, just to keep the information from the public. And so I say congratulations to the people of the United States. You have done the unthinkable, which is to hold your government officials accountable. You elected a president. You elected a majority Senate Republican, a majority House of Representatives Republican. You elected an executive branch that is Republican and MAGA to the bone. And they are delivering on the promises they made you, albeit the Epstein files rollout reminds me of the Obamacare rollout. But it's not what happens in the beginning. All rollouts are not perfect. The fact is that the information has begun to roll out, and the tsunami will grow and grow and grow. We will be hearing very shortly about the people who were actually engaged in criminal activity with those young girls on Epstein Island. We might be seeing videos of people engaged in all kind of sexual acts. You might be hearing conversations of people in the political class far and wide discussing all sorts of depravity, some criminal, some simply unethical and evil. You're going to be hearing maybe audio tapes of people doing the same. You're going to be seeing pictures. Epstein was a master at extortion, it seems. Epstein, we now know, based on what has come out already, that he was an FBI informant. We know that he was connected to the intelligence agencies. That is only phase 1. And I've been through it. It doesn't have much to celebrate other than some of the names that are already in the public. Ain't nobody new. Everybody know Bill Clinton been to Epstein Island many times. Them guys were close. But another thing that came out is a document that was in the court when Epstein was arrested, when he got his cushy deal to simply register as a sexual offender after getting a few months in jail, where he was allowed to work and do basically what he felt. That letter signals and states that Epstein was a co-founder of the Clinton Foundation. I'll say it again, that Jeffrey Epstein was a co-founder of the Clinton Foundation. See, I tell you, the Clintons and Epstein were tight. from long, long time ago. Good night, Harriet, and welcome in. Class is in session indeed. So what are we to take from what you see happening with the Epstein rollout, the Epstein documents and evidence? My people at the Virgin Islands, America, Europe, and the world, Epstein had evidence of people across every single aspect that you can think of. Some who were wealthy, some who were famous, many who are politicians, but mainly those who were corrupt. Because as we said, corrupt do as corrupt do. As I said last night, many people are scared shitless. In these Virgin Islands, the silence is deafening. No senators talking, no politicians talking, the governor ain't talking, the delegate ain't talking. Nobody's saying a word because they're hoping against hope that the machine can continue. But the people of America have spoken. They are holding Attorney General Pam Bondi to task. Many people are calling for a resignation simply because of a failed rollout and the promises that were made during the election. Many people are pointing out that Pam Bondi was the Attorney General in Florida when Epstein got that cushy deal. People are pointing out that she may have lied because she said she had documents on her desk, the evidence from Epstein, and some of it was sick. Well, what we saw in phase one was nothing sick. We just got a little bit of information. But I do believe that is a reason for it. Like I said, President Trump wants the approval of the people of the United States. And based on the clapback on social media and in the media, the fact that the mainstream media, those fake news as Trump called them, have not jumped up and said, oh, look, there is nothing. Epstein thing is, they have not come out and called it a dud because they understand that piece by piece, Trump is getting the approval of the people of the United States to do what he wants, which is to expose the Epstein enablers, the co-conspirators, those clients who are enjoying the spoils of those young girls and little St. James. Good night, Chantel. Glad to have you in again. Like I said, good Trump, bad Trump, he is proving himself to be a tremendous leader. He is smart beyond what people give him credit. Trump hasn't said a thing about Epstein yet, that I have seen, because all know Trump is in front of the mic. Trump was in front of the mic today. Trump is all over what is happening in the United States. And yet he hasn't come out and said much about the Epstein documents. People even saying on social media, big MAGA supporters having an internal war too. They're having strife because some of the real supporters of Donald Trump are saying, we don't care how long it takes or how batch the rollout is. We are going to be there till the full release is complete. You have others who are staunch supporters who said, no, this isn't what we voted for. You promised that on day one, this information was going to be given to the public. And this is a month later, we ain't seen nothing. And that is shame on the Trump administration. Like I said last night, I am here for it. Hold them accountable, including the Trump administration, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. Everybody must be held to account because the people of the United States, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the world tired of the talk. Time for action. No more mama guying. No more dangling the carrot. Drop the carrot. It's time to put up or shut up. And like I said, if the Trump administration doesn't deliver, I don't care how much good they're doing, because they did more good today we're going to discuss. I don't care how great the leadership looks. The mere fact that the Epstein files are not public yet gives people pause, and the people are not having it. They're not like us in the Virgin Islands who are simply watching and not doing much. The people of the United States are standing up, speaking up, and demanding the Epstein files, just as Trump knew that they would. So Trump took one. Pam Bondi took one. Kash Patel took one. For the team, the people of the United States, knowing that they would riot, that they would demand that that information come out. And so Kash Patel roll up to the same office that's slow walking the documents and trying to delete. And he has with him a team of people who are going to go through with a fine-tooth comb, put algorithms, recover anything deleted. No bleach bit going on here. Don't believe all the hype about bleach bit. Anything that is electronic can be found. Elon Musk tell you that nothing is lost. And to all, yeah, you're right, Harriet. You got people out there saying Trump is only doing it because the case is at a point where he himself may be caught up in it. All kind of things gonna be said. Right now, all the pundits are out. I'm not a pundit. I don't care one way or the other if they roll it out slow, if they roll it out like car. It could take 3 months, it could take 5 months, it could take 6 months, it could take a year. All I care about is that it rolls out. Let them spend political capital trying to keep this information from coming to the public. Give them the hokey dokey or the okie dokie that they give to us for decades. Make them feel that they have some kind of respite, that they may be getting away with it, when you don't know that Trump knows that he's going to roll it out. You're right, Queen. He know he's going to roll it out. Tomorrow is Saturday. A good time to blow up the media with information so that people could spend the whole of Saturday just going through the information and putting it out. I tell you, I foresaw that when the information came out, it would not be what people expect. It was going to be in a situation where the media are 649. Not the people of the United States. They're in good stand. They're making noise for the information. Precisely what they should do. Demand it and demand it. Make it so loud that it cannot be undone. And Trump, just as he did during the election campaign, builds it up and builds it up and builds it up and builds it up till you can't take no more, and then drop it. Drop a lot of it on Saturday morning. Give me a chance to go through it till Saturday night, 7 o'clock tomorrow, for Politicians and Pedophiles, Part 3. So that is what is happening. There is no much news about the Epstein files other than to tell you, batten down the hatches. It will come by will or by force of the people of the United States, with the Commander-in-Chief understanding extremely well how optics are necessary for the people of the United States and the world to get what is really going on, the depravity, the evil that was Epstein and what he was doing. And Little St. James, Big St. James, Florida, New Mexico, France, England, and all over the world. I told you last night, do not be surprised if you hear that USAID was the biggest contributor to the Epstein sex trafficking enterprise. They scared out of the wits in the Virgin Islands. They're putting out all kind of things to give the impression that they are friends or friendly to the Trump administration. They don't like one bone in Trump. But they're going to talk that. We're going to get to that later. So as it comes to Epstein, I hold out faith that when the rollout really begins, a lot of people in Congress are going to resign. A lot of people in Hollywood going to do other things. I don't want to call it white thinking. But some people can't take jail and some people can't take pressure. And so it's going to happen. Everybody in Hollywood who they thought was crazy, people like Mel Gibson, Isaac Cappy, all them people going to be seen as psychics. They knew what was coming. So we're going to wait for that. Just know that from in the Epstein files that came out today, apparently Epstein is a co-founder of the Clinton Foundation. Same Clintons I love. Same Clintons that took millions and went to Haiti and did little or nothing. Kept the money. Did what they want with the money. So now we continue with Trump and what's going on in the US. Well, President Donald Trump met today with Zelensky of Ukraine. So this is partly about the US and some about Russia and Ukraine. Trump wanted to sign a deal with Ukraine to be a partner with them in the minerals to pay back that 350 trillion loan that they sent over to help Ukraine fight Russia. Well, the meeting started out good. It was cordial. Information was sharing. And then about 40 minutes in, Vladimir Zelensky, the installed president of Ukraine, did what I would call the unforgivable sin, which is to come into the White House of the United States and disrespect the office of the president. Not Trump, not Vance, but the office of the president. To argue back and forth in the media while Trump is trying to negotiate a partnership that would see them continue to support Ukraine as long as they want peace. You must end the war, end the killing. You know what happened after that? The vice president of the United States took Zelensky to task. And Zelensky, of course, he's in front of the media, he's a great actor, was going back and forth, arguing, and at one point, telling the president of the United States and the vice president in front of the media and some cabinet members that what is happening in Ukraine, the United States is going to feel in the future. Well, he should have never said that. That is a threat. And Trump, as you know, sits back, and when he negotiating from a high low, Zelensky is low. He needs the US. Trump is absolutely certain of that. And so when Trump is negotiating from a high low, he took offense. And he put the president of Ukraine in his place. Tell him, don't come and tell us what the United States is going to feel. You don't know that. And you have no cards. We propping you up. we giving you weapons and money that should go to the people of the United States. Because, as Trump said, a foolish former president just give away the money that belonged to the United States to you to fight an unwinnable war. So you need to talk about peace. Stop telling me about Putin, Putin, Putin. Tell me about peace. Tell me about repaying the loan that is the taxpayers of America money by forming a partnership to get your minerals. And so it went from that, what I call the unforgivable sin, into a meeting that wasn't going to go no place. Trump understood then what Zelensky has been doing for 4 years under Biden. He has come to the United States and spoken to the president and his cabinet in the United States, gone to the Congress and spoken to the Congress and demanded funds. How dare he come into the White House and demand that the president of the United States and the Congress, the administration, just give him more weapons and give him more money? He didn't ask, he's demanding it. And of course, Trump is at his best when he's negotiating. And so he put a stop to that. He's at high. Zelensky is at low. And he kicked Zelensky out of the White House. Strong leadership doesn't take nonsense. Strong leadership does not go along simply for a narrative. Strong leadership defends its nation, its organization, for the best interest of said. So Trump kick him out and tell him, you come back to us when you want to talk peace. I don't want to sign no partnership agreement with you because you have to sign it regardless. You have no respect for the office of the president. You have no respect for the government of the United States, and you have no respect for the people of the United States. And Trump knew at that moment in time Zelensky had no choice but to capitulate in the future, because he's gone out of the White House now, and Trump is telling you, come back when you're ready to do peace, my brother. Come back when you're ready to talk sense, because your disrespect will not be tolerated anymore. It is being reported that Zelensky wanted to come back almost immediately. Trump said, no, come back when you're ready to sign and when you're ready to talk peace. Basically, the negotiations are over because the United States stands in the preeminent position and they don't have to do a goddamn thing for Ukraine anymore. In fact, Trump said, well, hey, we could leave our fight it out, see how long you're going to end up in the war, because you only being a real tough guy because we give you the opportunity to be that by giving you our funds and our weapons. Well, we ain't doing that no more. This isn't the Biden administration. This is the administration elected by the people of the United States to do what the people of the United States want. Recover our money that was sent to Ukraine, stop the killing, stop the war, and put Zelensky in his place. Because for far too long, he has come into the United States and spoken down to the leadership of the United States. Come underdressed, underqualified, and yes, so braggadocio and arrogant. Man, when I'm going to post the video after of Trump and his vice president giving Zelensky a tongue lashing for even daring to give a veiled threat to the United States, the most powerful nation in the world by far. So guess what is happening now? Zelensky is facing far-reaching consequences within hours. As we speak, a member of parliament in Ukraine is putting together articles of impeachment to get rid of Zelensky. The ambassador to the US from Ukraine, Ukraine's ambassador to the US, there's a picture of her holding her head like this, as Zelensky destroyed his own political career. And all those people around him who enabled him to benefit on the kickback end, and they are now abandoning ship, and they are going to get caught up because Trump just signaled to his Secretary of State to cut all energy subsidies to Ukraine. That is done. Trump has signaled not another dime goes into Ukraine. And in fact, he has ordered a full investigation of every dime that went into Ukraine to see if there was any kickbacks to politicians in the United States through their NGOs or whatever. Because like I say, Trump did not sit for 4 years while he was running, not putting people in position to start to vet what was going on. So believe me when I tell you, Zelensky is done. Done. Cooked and baked. For daring to come into the United States and not acquiescing to what the Trump administration wanted and save his political life. Zelensky is done. Russia, right now, doesn't have to do a thing other than pull out the Ukraine. The Ukrainians will deal with Zelensky. And this, by Trump, was not election interference. It was not a color revolution like Victoria Nuland, the great friend of the USVA, and Obama appointee, who then went on to be an appointee under the Biden administration, the same individual who have instigated and funded so many color revolutions throughout Europe, Africa, and Asia and South America. Do the research. Victoria Nuland. Google it. Ask Grok. The information comes to you every single moment that you put in and ask. Victoria Nuland. Obama appointee Victoria Nuland. Joe Biden appointee Victoria Nuland. Victoria Nuland, color wars. Victoria Nuland, election interference in Europe. Victoria Nuland, warmonger. Put it in. VICTORIANULAND. And you're going to learn a lot about the US Virgin Islands too. Like I say, find out who they are connected to, who worked with them before in the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, the George Bush administration. They don't have no light between the corrupt political class in the US. They do not respect party. They cross party lines. And that is why MAGA was such a big threat. Because MAGA supporters support Trump regardless of the Republican Party, regardless of the Democrat Party. They support Trump for Trump's policies. And so, there is a third party that dominates the United States. The Republican Party just came along for the ride. But like Harriet, as you say, they learn, and they're going to learn, that the Republican Party is now MAGA, whether they wanted it or not. Because MAGA supports policies. MAGA supports a fighter. MAGA supports America first. Now, what's wrong with that? America first. Always America first. And so Trump, Donald Trump, President Trump, who was a Democrat first, one of the biggest supporters of the Democrat machine, they used to love Trump. Don't mind them going on like they hate Trump now. They used to love Trump. Trump get every accolade you could think of. Trump supported every black politician, from Jesse Jackson all the way down to Maxine Waters and all of them. The girls on The View love Trump. All them people who are now Democrats, leftists, who said they hate Trump used to love him. Then he became a Republican to run for election because he felt that Hillary Clinton was a weak candidate who had done tremendous harm to the United States with her wheeling and dealing great reset with Russia while she gave away tons of uranium to Russia, but she wasn't said to be colluding with Russia. So Harriet, yes, they're going to learn. And if they stick with me, my viewers and my listeners, all of us going to learn. Because like I say, my head is full of the worldview from having to sit and understand the corruption that is in the US Virgin Islands is just part of the entrails, the ending of the tentacles of the global domination machine that does not see party. It sees power, wealth, depravity, sexual trafficking, gun running, nuclear wars. That's the threat of nuclear war. They thrive off that. World War III, fear mongering. They thrive off of that. Climate change, Green New Deal, fear mongering. They've been doing this for decades. You know how many years the world's supposed to collapse? From in the 90s, they say in 2000 the world gonna collapse if we don't take on green energy and this and that. Then they said it was gonna happen in 2014. Then 2018. Now they're saying what, 2030? That time gonna come and go, and we're gonna still be here. And our children gonna be got children. And we're still gonna be here, and they're gonna be using the same scam over and over. That's what they do. So Trump became a politician and soundly defeated Hillary Clinton, much to the chagrin of the machine. So what did the machine do? They spied on Trump. The Obama administration, outgoing, along with Joe Biden, Victoria Nuland, FBI, CIA, NSA, security, the security state, Pentagon, they got people all over who did not want Trump to have an opportunity to even govern properly. And so they bogged him down in impeachments and all those good stuff. They vilified Trump. They vilified his family. They vilified Republicans. They vilified conservatives. And for just daring to disagree with the election result, people who went to the Capitol to protest peacefully, many of who were let in, because I've watched it enough. I know the information. I've watched the tapes that January 6th committee that had Stacey Plaskett resorting to verbal violence against Trump put out. And then I looked at the videos that they did not put out, looked at the testimony that they did not put out, and I smell a rat. And Trump refused to go away. MAGA refused to die. They believed that Trump's fight was a righteous fight for the heart of the United States, the people of the United States. And so Trump won the election. And immediately, Trump knew he couldn't make the same mistakes he made in 2016. He refused to go along with the status quo and the way they did things, and he did things his way. You know the song, I Did It My Way? Trump did things his way, and the media revolted. Trump is doing things he shouldn't do. He don't have the right to do it. Trump do what he wants, because they did what they wanted for 4 years, and nobody could have tell them nothing. They used the legal justice against Trump. They even gave him a mugshot. They say he committed a felony, and so he's a felony in chief. Well, if you already call him a felon, and he don't give a one damn what you say anymore, bullet hit him in the ear, almost kill him, second attempt at assassination. Trump right now don't care. He has the people supporting him. And he's not going to give up that support. And that is why he dealt with Zelensky today. Because 80-something%, which means it must be in the 90s, because the fake news, that news, mainstream news, is saying 78, 80 in the 80s. It got to be in the 90s, the support. And Trump understands optics. And from the minute that Zelensky made that mistake to argue back and forth with the president of the United States and his vice president in public, he had to get slapped down. And he was royally slapped down, and now he's done. Ukraine, you're going to hear it in the next few days, is going to be a destabilized country, regardless of if Zelensky now comes back with his tail between his legs, signs the partnership deal for the minerals, and declares that he is for peace, and he has called an end to any violence or war between Ukraine and Russia. He's done. The people of Ukraine realize that they must now abandon the failed policies that Zelensky has had for 4 years under Biden. The US is not taking that anymore. Not taking it anymore. So now that the big news out of the US today actually wasn't Epstein, is the fact that the United States is no longer supporting Ukraine in any war with Russia. And so Putin now just has to sit back and let the Ukrainians decide their future. Because Trump has already said, Russia, you don't do nothing. You just sit and wait for peace negotiations. Because if you dare try to use the negotiations with Ukraine as a crutch to think that you can now do as you want, the United States will not allow that. And Putin is a strategist. He has been saying for months now that Trump seems to want to negotiate a true peace accord with Russia and Ukraine. And so he's going to sit back. So my people, my listeners, my viewers, that is good news. We don't want to see no more death. People dying on the Russia side, people dying on the Ukraine side to fill the pockets of American corrupted politicians, NGOs, and the political, that war machine. No. No. Time to end that. And Trump is there for it. Good night, Utiba. Good to have you. My main takeaway from all of that is strong leadership is about actions, not going along to get along. Strong leadership is representing what your people want and not your political class. Zelensky would have done great to have learned that. He didn't. He somehow thought that President Trump, was President Biden. No, he's not. So now we continue, and we will come to the Virgin Islands. Well, lo and behold, as we're talking about Trump, our Virgin Islands Trump, Governor Albert Bryan, because I don't see much difference in the way that Albert Bryan wields his executive power. So if you're going to call Trump bad, call Albert Bryan, our governor, bad too. And just like that, Governor Albert Bryan is a fan of the Trump policies, because he's now working with the Trump administration to remove criminal illegal immigrants from the USVI prisons to the US to be deported. But the governor goes on to say, illegal immigrants who have not committed no crime, I guess, are not affected. Let me give the governor of the Virgin Islands a little bit of a legal lesson. The laws of the land, including the Virgin Islands, state that anybody who comes into the United States or the US Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, illegally have committed a crime. So maybe Trump tricked you into believing that the illegal immigrants who didn't commit a crime against a citizen is a different category of illegal immigrant than just the illegal immigrants who came into the country illegally but didn't commit a crime against an individual or agency in the United States and the USVI. Every illegal immigrant has committed a criminal act and are liable to get deported. Short and sweet. So maybe you need to go back to who was giving you advice when you signed on to agree with the Trump administration to remove criminal illegal immigrants from your USVI prisons, because by doing that, you have indirectly agreed to remove every illegal immigrant out of the territory, and they are liable to be deported. The federal government now has your blessings, because a criminal illegal alien is anyone who came into the United States illegally. And that is why I say, I don't really believe that the governor of the Virgin Islands wants to do the things he's doing and to put it into the media concerning the Trump executive orders in regards to illegal immigration. But he has used up all of his political capital in Washington. This is not when John DeYoung went to Washington to meet with Eric Holder and Barack Obama as president. No, a one group and unity for all. No. Different years, different politicians, different attorney general, different outcome. The governor now is relying on his lobbyists and contacts who are familiar and maybe have a good working relationship with the Trump administration. There are none. There are none. The lobbyists that the Virgin Islands use in Washington and the delegate use in Washington are part of that corrupt cabal, in my opinion. They are part of the group that is fighting Trump. They are part of the group who are aligned with the very government officials and non-elected bureaucrats who are trying to delete and destroy evidence that is Epstein evidence and not willing to give it over to the Trump administration. They have done. They have used up all of the political capital. They have none left. They're in the game with the big boys now. And so the governor have to DO or GO. You can't get a refinery and St. Croix back up if Trump doesn't agree to ease up some of the regulations and see that that is done. You need federal monies, don't you? You cannot continue business as usual in the Virgin Islands. So we pretend. Big pretense by the governor, Albert Bryan administration right now as to the correct order of things. There is a lot of misdirection in the Virgin Islands right now. They're not telling you, the people, the truth. The fact is the governor is helpless to what is coming. He don't have a say. And so expect that the general funds will be pillaged. Expect that the Virgin Islands, that is on the verge of imploding, is going to have grave news to give to the people of the Virgin Islands in short order. Grave news. I don't fear monger, so I won't even suggest what the grave news, but it's grave news going to come. Because as it's being reported in the media, some people only have 10 days of cash. You don't have equipment in the hospitals. You can't pay vendors. You're taking money from Peter to pay Paul in a shell game. You don't borrow hundreds of millions or over $150 million in bonds. You're going to float another 200 million. You're going to float another 300 million. The borrow and spend under this administration has eclipsed the borrow and spend under the Young administration by far. And still, the retirees have not received the retro. There are some people who haven't received raises in government, and yet the high-ranking government officials expect to take exorbitant raises. Everything is going to come to a head in the Virgin Islands. Not because Collister Fahie says so, but because they say so in the media. They just put it in fancy words and hoping that you don't put 1 and 1 together to get 2, and then 2 and 10 together to get 12. We are in crisis in the Virgin Islands, and we are at a crossroads. It's either the people of the Virgin Islands take stock and follow the example of the people of the United States, who are united more than ever. Democrats are seeing the truth and leaving the Democrat Party. Democrats who talk the big talk, giving information to illegal immigrants of how to avoid ICE in public, are now writing letters to the Department of Justice to see if they are under investigation for obstructing justice and the federal mandates of the Trump administration. AOC was streaming information, and the Senate floor was telling people all kind of thing. Now she's worried because nobody is above the law, right? And the president already signaled, and the attorney general already stated, that any political appointee, elected official, bureaucrat, anybody who obstructs or interferes with the removal and deportation of illegal immigrants will be arrested. So AOC has written to the Department of Justice inquiring if she's under investigation. She should know better. All of those people who stand up as elected officials and say to illegal immigrants, do this and do that. This is how you avoid ICE. And ICE is coming to your area today because they got it as information in their political positions, run the risk of being pop-walked and prosecuted, because that is the law of the land. And so they think they could talk, not realizing that by their very words they are obstructing and violating laws. So expect that a lot of Democrats in Congress, a lot of rhinos in Congress, gonna go silent. When last you hear Jeffries speak up, because he's one too, who may be currently under investigation by the FBI for taking funds that came back into the US through USAID. The amount of politicians on Capitol Hill right now who don't know, I want to know if they're under investigation, is mind-boggling. Because they all know that it doesn't matter what party they were in. They were enjoying the perks of nonsensical allocations from USAID to not-for-profits. These NGOs. Elon Musk said it best. The NGOs, non-governmental agencies, receive more money from the government, which means they are government organizations. It's an oxymoron. And they are doing things that they could not do legally under the government of the United States through the NGOs. My people, my listeners, the world has changed. President Trump went after the money machine of the corruption, sex trafficking, drug running, gun running, war machine in one bold move. USAID was the slush fund. And he is cutting that back. And rightfully so. So to Governor Albert Byrne, I'm glad you joined the Trump train. I am here for it. Because like I say, it ain't too late to change. And good leadership, strong leadership, is knowing when the jig is up. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough to count it when the deal is done. A lot of people in the Virgin Islands have been counting their money for decades at the table. And so maybe the best thing to do, Governor Albert Byrne and the Byrne administration, is to throw in your hand. Take the L. Do what is right for the people of the Virgin Islands. Just like how you know, flip and tap back and following Trump's lawful executive orders, you need to tap back and represent the people of the Virgin Islands and do what is in their best interest. I continue. In the Virgin Islands, the judiciary was testifying before the legislature. And you know, if you've been listening to my podcast, I have a problem with the number of cases on the docket that just seem to be held up, while our feckless leaders do nothing to help alleviate the problem. Now, we learn that the Superior Court of the Virgin Islands is backed up by 11,500 cases. All of them need to go home. All the judges need to go home to allow the docket to back up by 11,500 cases. That's incompetence. Nobody wants to say it like how it is, you know. So my listeners, we're going to have a frank discussion. Nobody wants to say it exactly how it is, cut and dry. We go around spewing niceties and fancy words and not saying what the reality is. The reality is, he have enough cases on the dockets that even if they were to do Monday to Sunday, 8 or 10 hours a day, they're going to be there for at least 10 to 20 years. And that is with doing Monday to Sunday, 10 hours a day. That's the facts. 11,500 cases behind, and people filing lawsuit and criminal cases coming in every day. Man, the government just arrest a 74-year-old man, give him $75,000 bail, and remand him to the jail pending his hearing, his rights. That's another case on the docket. That is a failure of the judicial branch. It is a failure of the legislative branch to not put into place last year, the year before the year, because these numbers had to be coming to the legislature. I digress. I didn't even look at it last year or the years before to see how many cases actually was on the docket and they were backed up. And they keep reappointing these same judges and giving them kudos in the legislature. You ever hear how they talk about these judges when they're confirming them for another term? You would swear that these judges doing work Monday to Sunday, 10 hours. Only to find out that now in 2025, the 11,500 cases behind, well, based on what has just happened today and yesterday, the 11,500 and add more cases behind. Because I hear that a case was tried and the jury come to a verdict and the sentence is X, Y, and Z. I haven't heard that from the Daily News, the VI Consortium, the St. Croix, St. Thomas, or St. John source. I hear it on WTJX. I haven't even heard it in social media. I ain't see it under the Taman tree. Have you? I ain't see it in the voice of the VA. So I'm saying to you, it's a failure of the legislative branch. Now comes my good friend, Senator Biden, is saying that he is going to try to put a bill through to get them probate judges. Let me tell you something. The legislature of the Virgin Islands, all optics. Not one smart idea coming out of the people who in the legislature. Not one. Here it is. You are now trying to fix the probate division because that's way behind too. Way behind. But you are telling me that you're trying to fix the probate division and you're not figuring out that we need to put some kind of legislation in place. 11,500 cases. I said it right. Correct, Harriet. You telling me that the senators don't realize that we got a crisis in the judicial branch? The head judge, Honorable Reese Hodge, you don't realize that there's a crisis in the judicial branch? You need 20 judges to handle these 11,500 cases. My people of the Virgin Islands, let me be frank. We don't have a legal justice system in the Virgin Islands. We have an illegal injustice system because there is no way the people's right to a speedy trial can be held. There is no way the due process rights of people in the Virgin Islands who are in the criminal, civil justice system are being held up. No way their rights are being fulfilled. And no senator, even all the hearing what just went, none of them said, we need to find the money to help to fix the judicial branch. Yeah, they talk about giving them more money to facilitate the pay and the perks and the privileges. But not a dime is given to ensure that the people of the Virgin Islands in the criminal justice system, people who are now incarcerated are waiting for trial, who have to go to probation every week. You see how the thing set? Probation get work. So fund the probation. People in jail. The Bureau of Corrections get paid. They got to deal with the criminals in jail. The people who have contract corrections for feeding the inmates, they're good, they're going to get paid. The other government agencies that have to service the people in the criminal system, the public defender's office, all of them, they're going to get paid. But the people who are in jail and the people who are out waiting for the case to try, what are they getting? What are they getting? So hear this. The senators need to go back to the drawing board and help to fix the judicial system. So here it is. The legislative branch now look like he gonna run the judicial branch. Because they ain't doing their job either. Like I said, 11,500 cases. Do the math. When them cases, the backlog gonna get moved. When the backlog gonna get moved? We're living in fantasy in the Virgin Islands. We're imploding. Every single day, they bring us closer and closer to self-destruction. And nobody sounding the alarm. Just a few. Let me not say nobody. Just a few sounding the alarm. Senator Alma Francis Heiliger, Lord, I'm going to say it again. She fighting the good fight. Sounding the alarm. And like I said before, they find time to talk about people using government vehicle with unauthorized access. When all of the people who using the vehicle them after 5 o'clock have authorized access. Every single one of them got authorized access. Them is the nonsense they're talking about in the legislature. And grinning and skinning with one another because they know it's a joke. Because some of them get picked up after 5 o'clock with the very same vehicle them. I digress. We need to face the fact that the Superior Court of the Virgin Islands right now is not fulfilling its mandate. They're fulfilling its mandate. Not with an 11,500 case backlog. That's food for thought, my viewers. That if in any country you have in superior courts a 11,500 case backlog, wow, then we wonder why the Virgin Islands is so. Because we have a broken system that needs to be fixed. And we have a lot of people in position who doing everything in their power not to let the machine get fixed. It broke and we want it so. We love it so. Some of my viewers, they put on, oh, the people of the Virgin Islands love it so. I don't believe they love it so. I believe that they don't understand fully what is happening in the Virgin Islands. Because the misleaders that are selected or elected, I don't know. I don't know. Time will tell. Lawsuits abound. Those people are not standing up for the people of the Virgin Islands. Like how Trump is standing up for the people of the United States. The USVI and the world, they're not doing it. I continue in the Virgin Islands. I give you another example of what I'm talking about. They love the machine how it is. Because how the machine is, you could pick and choose where you want to go. Say you're going to go there, and the dutiful soldiers are going to make it happen. That's how that machine works. We got a broken system in the VI. WICO apparently met, the board of WICO met, and have agreed and chosen Mr. Joseph Bushulta, who is still, well, he ain't take the job yet, and I don't know if he fired the job at tourism yet. But let's say he ain't fired the job at tourism. He's still the director of tourism. If he fired the job, he's just the former director of tourism. And he got it so good in the machine. This broken system in the Virgin Islands. That the board of WICO met. And they have chosen Joseph Bushulta to be the new CEO. But he ain't accept the offer yet. Listen, I want job like them, you know. I want them kind of thing, you know. Give the rank and file people in the government that kind of sway. Where you could tell them that you're going to give them a job. And you don't decide that. And the person you give the job ain't even accept it yet. But he must accept it. He supposed to accept it. Well, I wonder what's going to happen if Joseph Bushulta give them a 649 and decide he ain't want the job. They're going to go back to the drawing board to choose another CEO. Maybe, isn't it that done already done baked in as part of the broken system? Because I don't understand how some people go around government, recycled around government, and they have all the luck. They just seem to have all the political clout and political capital to get whatever they want. They could say it, and it's done. And yet other people got to fight so hard for a $500 raise on the check. So something is wrong. But the system will invariably look out for the cogs in the wheel of the system. That is until the whole system breaks down. Then everybody out of luck. So let's see if Mr. Bushulter is going to accept the offer to be CEO of WICO, now that the board already decided that they choose him, and he ain't even accept the role yet. Wow. This is what we're doing in the Virgin Islands. This is what we're doing in the Virgin Islands. And we wonder why the Virgin Islands government is on the verge of collapse. A lot of begging going on in Washington, D.C. right now. A lot of people bending the knee. A lot of people bending down and genuflecting. A lot of people scrubbing the social media posts. A lot of people trying to take what they say about Trump, MAGA, Republicans, and his cabinet off of social media and mainstream media. And while they're doing that, a lot of them quiet, trying not to even upturn the apple cart, to even make Trump just even give them a side eye for the things that they have said for 4 years. While people like me and other people, all we were saying is be careful what you're saying. Take the middle road for the people of the Virgin Islands. Do not get caught up in the party politics of the United States, simply to walk around and strut, simply to walk around and go on every mainstream media propaganda mouthpiece to be famous, to defame, slander, politically attack an opponent who may be in the White House. Again, with our future in the Virgin Islands in his hand. So said, so done. I'll say it again. President Donald Trump only has to use his pen and put one executive order, one, and the Virgin Islands will come to a halt. But Trump understands that he cannot suffer the people. He cannot make the people suffer simply because of their corrupt, selected political class. He knows that. And so all this talk about food stamps saying coming and social security payments saying paying and the children them going to suffer, none of that happening. But they're telling you the truth. They're going to whisper that among us in the community to fear monger. You ain't going to see that in the VA Consortium headline. You're going to see a pretend headline. Politicians are looking at the Trump administration, new executive orders, and are fearful that it might affect the Virgin Islands. Or they are saying they're monitoring what's going on because it might have an adverse effect. There is fear-mongering. Trump ain't doing nothing so. If anything like that were happening, the Virgin Islands would have been at a standstill. Standstill. Because we depend on the federal government for more than 75% of the funds that come into the Virgin Islands, officially and unofficially. USAID was an unofficial source, pumping millions all over the world. I tell you, it's going to come to pass. I ain't a psychic, I just do research, and I read in the tea leaves. The names of them NGOs that were getting money, the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, the this, the that, they shuttle funding all around. And them is the same slush funds that now put it into bribe funds, that send that money all around to the people who are entrenched with a broken machine. But Trump ain't doing the people of the Virgin Islands nothing. In fact, the people of the Virgin Islands need to wake up and realize the very same people who tell you afraid Trump, they're doing 10 times worse than Trump. 10 times worse than Trump. Because they're doing it to you in your face. and telling you that you can't do a darn thing about it. The arrogance is through the roof. But recently, I noticed that people have started to take a different tack, a tact of sitting quiet and not saying much to upset the President of the United States. And so they are going to do everything in their power to use as much of the illegal gotten gains the dump and pump gotten gains to try to circumvent Trump. Only gonna last for a certain amount of time, because Trump already know what's going on. And if all you think that Trump is foolish, watch as he's exposing the very same people by allowing them to take what they know is not theirs, to take federal funds that they know were just given to try to stop Trump from governing properly, to try to make Trump be burdened with bills and funding that he didn't approve. Trump ain't having that. Trump cutting that off. He started already. He cutting that off. But the warning that I've given to the political class in the Virgin Islands is this. Remember that he's going to ask, who did what with which money? When did you get the money? Show me why the rules were changed just to facilitate you. And why have you not provided what you were supposed to provide to show what you did with the money? Basically, he's going to audit, investigate, and if must, prosecute through his Attorney General. The Trump administration right now is a finely tuned machine that is working at full and high capacity. He have the best of the best, the most brilliant. He have those who know where to find an ant on a 50-mile beach of sand. And he gonna find it. So all the people who doing optics, putting out all these things in the newspaper to fearmonger and gaslight the people of the Virgin Islands, to all of my listeners, I'm telling you, it's not working. The people of the Virgin Islands are starting to wake up. That solid democratic bloc is starting to wake up. They realize that they have been made promises only to have them sit while the funds at the coffers of the Virgin Islands are divvied up among one group of our elected political class and their associates, enablers, families, friends. If you are not a part of the group, you get nothing. You get menial employment while they create jobs, high-paying jobs, for people who sometimes don't deserve it, not qualified for it, incompetent at it, or simply are breaking so many laws that when daytime comes, I hope that they're ready for jail. Because nobody in the Virgin Islands is going to be sorry for anybody who know they were committing a crime, was warned they were committing a crime, begged them not to commit the crime, they still turn around and commit the crime and then pretend to be ignorant, didn't know that it was a crime. Them things ain't working. People of the Virgin Islands, look on social media. They're saying it in the comments. Anonymous is the biggest criticizer of the Brian Roach administration. And I say anonymous not as a person or avatar that is saying things. Anonymous, all the people who posting anonymous, they are the biggest critics of the government of the Virgin Islands. But guess what? You know what it is I realize? They are the ones who, in government, who right up underneath the Brian administration too. They're just tired and they can't come out publicly and speak up, so they turn anonymous. Read what them saying. Read what them anonymous saying. You got people who coming out and giving advice. I read one post on social media that out somebody down at Wappa who carries some car that their husband was charging and the government charger. On top Facebook, they call name and say who are working for who and who. Listen, Anonymous and Fleek. Anonymous got the stories. Anonymous got the names. Anonymous got the pictures. The people say they got the pictures. And if they dare deny it, they're going to post it. Well, I said don't let them deny it, just post it. I here for that. Because I know I can't take my electric car and put it on no government charger. In fact, with the amount of electric car them that's sitting down ain't doing nothing, I wonder if all of them ain't not working, but they can't get them fixed. Because the school children say, you got to carry the same vehicles to Puerto Rico. So the cars are carrying the cars to Puerto Rico. Is exorbitant, so they prefer to just let them sit there. So the electric vehicle is going to be like the ones in China and all in place that sit in car cemeteries. It's cheaper to abandon them than to fix them. What are we coming to in the VI? We following the green news scam? Okay, we go ahead because Trump is coming. So now I continue. And this is going to be very interesting. Harriet, to see you on tonight, and I'm going to tell you this. It ain't a slight at you as a board member at the board of elections. It is not a slight at any of the board members when I say board of elections. It is the collective. The group itself, meaning the entity, not the individuals. And so we start with the board of elections and the meeting that they had Thursday. I tell you I didn't mention it because I had to do some research. And I decided I wasn't going to call nobody and talk to nobody. I go in with what the media say. Because the media don't tell you the story, you know. But you just have to read what they tell you and analyze what they're not telling you. Let me tell you something. The Board of Elections have some honorable people on the Board of Elections. And the Board of Elections have some corrupt people on the Board of Elections. I say so. Let me explain what I mean by that. The collective Board of Elections, it imploding. It is a perfect mirror of what is happening to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Take stock in what I'm saying. The Board of Elections is a perfect image of what is happening to the Virgin Islands. You have illegal people, corrupted people who are on the Board of Elections who are operating in arrogance, unlawfully, dictating to people on the Board of Elections who want to do the job of the people of the Virgin Islands. And they are raining down on them, just like our corrupt political class raining down on the people of the Virgin Islands. You want to tell me that this illegally sitting Raymond Williams have the gall, the guts to come into a board meeting talking about decorum? He have none. He have no ethics. None. That's the first piece. The second piece is they have maneuvered themselves into a collective and shame and a corrupt group that sit on the Board of Elections pretending that they want to do the people's business. They don't. They are doing the cabal business. And until Raymond Williams come off the board, because he is there illegally until the Attorney General of the Virgin Islands moved to indict, arrest, and prosecute Raymond Williams for what he said in the public. The Board of Elections is like the rhinos. Republicans in name only. The Board of Elections is Board of Elections in name only. Even the righteous and the Board of Elections cannot function. Cannot function. You have people in the Virgin Islands who know who is suited for what committee to ensure that the people's business is done. And that corrupt group and the Board of Elections is now organizing themselves to put people out. But Shelton, now he ain't take the governance committee. And then the unethical Raymond Williams put who he want to chair the committee. Because you don't want Dr. Cleopatra Peter to chair the governance committee. The board members of the Board of Elections you need to stand up and walk out. Walk out on the Board of Elections. Go to the Senate and tell the Senate that they are responsible for the most corrupt Board of Elections in Virgin Islands history. Tell them that they are responsible for the supervisor of elections, a violator of many Title 18 laws, who took the board to court and still sits as a supervisor with the gravest insubordination ever. But I want to get rid of the woman from Taxi Cab Commission. The whole entire government crooked. All of them is a bunch of crooks. Collister Fahie says so. And I am saying that as a voter, a resident of the Virgin Islands, I am saying it as a taxpayer in the Virgin Islands, and I am telling you, the Board of Elections, all of them board members need to walk off and leave the board run by all them corrupted ones alone. I said, Cleopatra Peter, no, they don't have to take my advice, but I am saying what I think is good advice. Cleopatra Peter, walk off the board. Tell the people of the Virgin Islands you ain't in that bullshit. That's not what you run for election for. Harriet, come off the Board of Elections. Barbara, come off the Board of Elections. Leave them run the bullshit. Leave them run their own thing. Put a middle finger to that. Why are you going to stay on the board when you don't know that they're corrupt to the bone? Let Raymond Williams run the Board of Elections by himself. The only how you're going to get change is to take one for the people of the Virgin Islands. Stand up and go to government house and tell the governor you is part of the crookedness on the Board of Elections because you got a director of lottery that you know shouldn't sit on the Board of Elections. Go down by the Attorney General and tell him he full of shit too, because he, as the AG in the Virgin Islands, has been found wanting because the same supervisor make him and his department go to the court to defend the government of the Virgin Islands. And I love one another again. It just like VLA. You talk the most crap about the Democrat machine. You love them. You have to run back up underneath them with your tail between your legs. I have no respect for them people. You guys said that you want to be elected to serve the people of the Virgin Islands. And then you go into position and I feel like I could just walk on people so that Peggy Moorhead got to come in and beg for she supper. That's nonsense and talk about you setting a hearing date for something. I thought Raymond Williams said that he ain't dealing with nothing from 2024. But at 11-1 vote, he realized that he have to have a hearing. Well, how come the board members them so honorable, righteous, that they understand the wickedness it is, the vindictiveness, the unlawfulness, the corruption in the Board of Election that you vote 11-1 to give Peggy Moorhead a hearing that she was supposed to get long time ago. And now all of you got holier than thou. You know about corruption and you know about ethics. So you vote 11-1, but I can't understand the rest of the corruption because I like Carolyn Fox. Why no Carolyn Fox? Carolyn Fox almost like family, but when you're wrong, you're wrong. And Carolyn Fox, you need to resign. What you are doing to the people of the Virgin Islands, you wouldn't do to the people of Anguilla. I said it. People must do what is right. If I are corruption, let me tell you something, my listeners, my viewers, I'm going to say this here one time. Them people willing to do whatever necessary, even to kill maybe, That's my opinion. Who don't like it, that's the business. To do what they want to get by and to win. All they see is win. So what are the righteous? What are the non-corrupted people willing to do? To stand for the people of the Virgin Islands. You can't take one for the people of the Virgin Islands. Everybody so want to be on a board, so want to be in position that you're going to take knockbout. You're going to take people telling you the most nonsensical things, having the most nonsensical votes, and yet they walk in the community and say that they are respectable, but they have no respect for the people of the Virgin Islands, so the people of the Virgin Islands ain't supposed to have no respect for them. Come off the board. Let them run the election how they want. Let them go ahead do what they want. Eventually, what's going to happen? They are going to run the Virgin Islands right over the cliff. It's almost there. Do not help them to stop it from going over the cliff, because all you're doing is delaying the inevitable. You see, you think Carolyn Fox going anywhere? Carolyn Fox ain't going a place. Carolyn Fox believes she above Dilla because she know a lot of things. They can't move her. You think Albert Bryan and Gordon Ray are going to try to remove Raymond Williams? The man done tell you that he big in the party. Is he who helped elect Governor Bryan, and he was rewarded with a directorship. You need to know more about corruption? You need to know more about corruption? Why don't take them to court? Why are you as board members don't take Raymond Williams to court? Oh, you don't want litigation? Then people will walk on you every time. You see, if I was on the board of election, I would have taken them to court as Collister Fahie board member. All of them. We were going Superior Court. I would have asked for a TRO because we got people on the board of elections committing fraud. But are you ain't ready for the fight? If are you ready for the fight, do the fight. Do the fight. And a lot of people ain't going to like to hear what I say. I don't care. If you're going to fight, fight. Don't talk, fight, fight. You see me? Like I say already and I say again, it's easy for me to fight, because if they think that I going to bring a knife to a gunfight, they lie. If they come in with guns, I come in with guns. They come in with shotgun, I come in with shotgun. They want to defame, I going to defame too. They want to come in packs, I going to come with my crew. And trust me, I got a lot of crew. Yeah? You think my crew play? I got crew in St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John. Because when I was running for election, I didn't just run in St. Thomas and St. John alone. I went St. Croix because you, as a senator, represent the Big Island. And all of you who talking, every single one of you who talking, on top of social media, on top the radio, I ain't never hear nobody say, take one for the people of the Virgin Islands. We're talking all smooth. We're not dealing with people who care. We're not dealing with people who give a toot to what you guys say. You could talk from now. The only thing they're going to understand is the same force that they're giving you. They're basically telling you to hell with you. You cannot tell us what to do. But they in turn turn around and tell you you must follow rules and have decorum. I would have had no decorum in the meeting. I would have get up and tell Raymond Williams to his face, you are a fraudster. You are sitting illegally on the board. And until you remove yourself from the board, I am not allowing another board meeting to continue. Straight. The police would have gonna come because the board meeting was going to shut down. Treat them like how they treat you. You don't see how quick they shut down meeting when they're trying to terminate Carolyn Fox in December, just before. As soon as a motion is made, they shut down the motion and adjourn meeting and gone. You ain't learned nothing from Miss Wells. Go back and look how Miss Wells operate. Go back and see how Raymond Williams operate before when he was chairman. Look how he operate inside Lottery as a director. You know how much bad word he give them people in Lottery? He went in front of the legislature and give a fake apology and they just thought he was cool. Well, go on your job and bust up some bad word. And are you employees and see what happens. Go on your job and let an employee bust up some bad word. You see how quick complaints come in. Even when you ain't bust no bad word, complaints come in. My son, I don't have no respect for these people. Give them people what they're giving you. Sometimes, and I'm going to say this to Harriet, and I know, Lord, Harriet, I call your name, but I feel for you. Because when you come to me and you encourage me, when you come to me and encourage me to be on the board, God was speaking through you. But sometimes in our wisdom, men do not see what is there. And so publicly I said tonight, maybe I should have tried and get a position on the board, because I'm telling you, if Collister Fahie was on the board of elections, all hell was going to break loose Thursday. No board meeting as long as Raymond Williams is on the board. Call the police. No meeting. That's how I gotta fight. That's how they fight you. You don't hear how member Liliana Delado, they only jump up when I try to move a motion, just a motion, to have the supervisor terminated for cause for insubordination and for fraud. She jump up and defending the supervisor, and she's a board member who was taken to court by the supervisor. Let me tell her something. You see, friendship, that is what killing the Virgin Islands. Friendship. Go along to get along. Nobody could tell nobody the honest truth. We are playing games, trying to be in cliques and clans. We prefer to let the people of the Virgin Islands take knockbout because we want to be with a certain set of people. Listen, I'm not into that. I reject that. Cliques. Go along to get along. Whoop up. Whip up. What the hell that give you in all these years? What that give you? All of us, Democrat, Republican, Independents. What that give us? High food prices, high gas prices, bad roads, unfinished projects. A bunch of talk. Time for the talk to done, my people of the Virgin Islands. You understand? I see Harriet say here that she have taken a position, let it work. And I agree. That is your position. Nobody can take that from you. And that is why I say, nobody have to take my advice. But I'm telling you what my advice is. And think about. Okay? You ask, how could one member cause a meeting to end? The same way Liliana Bellada, they O'Neill, and all of them get up and say, meeting adjourned, and even before you adjourn, they done walking off. So if you don't break the quorum, you're worrying about breaking the quorum? I ain't talking about breaking the quorum. I'm talking about stopping the meeting. I've been in many organizations in this Virgin Islands. I've seen people do all kind of things. I see Boat Brian fling something across the floor. Or whatever it was he did, because I don't want to say what did not. I wasn't really paying attention to elections and them. But I remember well that they nearly had fight in the legislature, people turning off people mic. I hear all kind of stories come out of the legislature. People bring up investigations about people it never gonna place. You forget? You think that the Board of Elections is dysfunctional? You ain't hear about the Board of Education meeting recently? And how much went on in that? You don't even know who is the perpetrator and who is the victim, because everybody playing victim. They just shut down what they want to shut down. You worrying about decorum. Let me switch it. You are worrying about the quorum, which is the number of people who necessary for the meeting to continue. But Raymond Williams was more concerned about decorum, the way I behave in the meeting. Because he know it's enough meeting he done went on with all kind of thing. But monkey know a limb to jump on. he could abuse you and I take it. Remember, Wells, when she was chairwoman, could turn around and tell Epiphen Joseph that he is the one who it is this and who is the. I work in our meetings. I can't tell me about decorum and how our meetings are going on. All I saying is this here. Give them what they give you. You've been there for years. You know what they give you. Who are worse than Arturo Watlington? I could tell you stories. And this is before your time, Harriet. And I'm just saying this is before your time. You have come on and God knows you're trying your best. God knows that Barbara Lauren coming to try her best. God knows that Bosholta may be coming to try his best. And Springate trying she best. And Shikima trying she best. Hendricks used to try she best. Leadham used to try the best. But your best won't good enough. That's all I'm saying. Your best is not good enough until the board represents what the people want. When all of the members could have an amicable discussion, they disagree and agree, they move, put things into place for the best for the people. Them people still playing games. They want to control the board members. They want to do what they want with the supervisor running our show. But let me tell you something. The supervisor ain't know what's going to come. She have no idea what's coming. You go on my page and you see the anatomy of election fraud and interference in the U.S. Virgin Islands election 2024. You think that is all? That is just some of the smoke what coming. Because I play with people and think that people ain't gonna play with you. You go on top the radio and on live, and you're talking all kind of things about Ida Smith. Or people coming to you, they never once vote here. And they want to come and tell people what to do. And nobody know her and St. John. Chairman, Wells is like the mayor of St. John. Who the hell care if Wells is the chairman? People think she's the mayor of St. John. What that have to do with people birthright, people ancestry, and Shikima Jones live in St. John and she don't know her neither. What that have to do with people indigenous rights and people family? My son, I have no respect for people and I expect people to have respect for you. Only to find out that while I am talking that and talking about how the delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett, is this and that. Stacey Plaskett was born and raised in New York, but she hold on to her heritage. But I want to talk about Ida Smith. Let me tell you something. We're going to court. And the board members of the Virgin Islands border election need to take the member to court, take Raymond Williams to court to let the court decide if he is legally or illegally sitting on the board. Do not go by no attorney general interpretation. That is how they fool are you. Make them put their hand on the Bible, make them go to court and raise their hand, make them give testimony, and make the courts do their work. Even if the court corrupt too, do not let them off the hook because you're afraid and you think it's the status quo. Put it on the record so the people of the Virgin Islands could hear them say what they say. I love President Trump for that. Make them come out and vote against something that is nonsensical. Vote for no tax and tips, no tax and social security. Put it in so that every Democrat got to come in and vote no. Let the people see that the Democrats vote no to no taxes and the tips, no taxes and the social security. That is how you treat them. Give them the same treatment they give you for years. Why is the Board of Elections pretending like it is not imploding? They feel like they run things. They do not. They believe they have all figured out because nobody has decided to take one for the people of the Virgin Islands. Stand up and tell them people, I am not going to be a part of the board just to be a noise maker. I am not going to be a part of the board just to take abuse from an illegally sitting chairman and a member. I am not going to sit on the board just to satisfy the fancy of a small little group of corrupted people who make sure that they pay one another big salaries while they don't do a damn thing for the voters nor the people of the Virgin Islands. Don't be a part of the board. I've disqualified myself from many things if I realize that I gonna just be simple opposition. You see, when you find yourself in a situation like that, like for example, when I found myself in similar situation with the USVI Soccer Association, an association that I put on my back and built up by being one of the best he had around here, playing on some of the best teams, going so far as winning and going down the islands throughout the Caribbean and put the Virgin Islands in the map. And then I realized the cabal was coming for that too. You know what I do? I leave them alone and I expose what they were doing by making them come and vote in front of people so you could see who is the corrupt. And when they came for me, you know what I do? I ain't just sit back and say, it gonna be too much to take them on. What difference can I make? Me one, Collister Fahie alone. Sue all of them. Tut Mun and Bagay inside Superior Court. You know what they do? Hold up the cases and the docket simply because they do not want them to go to trial or to make a simple order. And whether or not I win by summary judgment, simple order, whether or not I prove my case is defamation or not. But you force the court to become corrupt too. You take a stand and take one for the people of the Virgin Islands so that they will never be able to do what they try to do to me or to any board member, to anybody else again, ever in history. Take a stand. Take a stand. Stop trying to battle them people in social media alone. Stop trying to battle them people by relying on a propaganda media machine that just makes everybody look silly. Go court, you see what happened. Litigation. I don't tell everybody what the parameters are. Raymond Williams cannot sit on the board of elections as an elected member and as a chairman of the board and still be the director of lottery and the Public Services Commission in every jam with the governor, publicly stating that he helped to make sure that the governor win election and he's still on the board. And then he now admit in public that one of his employees, not one of them who he bust up bad word to, because he was supposed to be gone, when he swear and to all his employees and say to them what he wants, that's intimidation, verbal violence. But to make things even 10 times worse, he admit that he know for over 9 months, nearly a year, an employee did not work, did not do the work he was contracted as an employee to do. Yet you pay him because the executive branch tell you that's a felony. That is fraud upon the government of the Virgin Islands. Take him to court. The Attorney General afraid if I take him to court. Remember, I tell you, move to court, $75 and take him to court and see what happened in the Virgin Islands. Just look what happened. The media gonna explode. All of a sudden, the Attorney General must speak or shut the hell up. One or the other. But take them to court. Stop playing with these people. They are making a mockery of the election system of the Virgin Islands. A mockery. Don't mind you hear the supervisor elections talking about how she glad that Ida Smith et al. take her to court because the court ain't gonna decide a thing. The court ain't gonna decide a thing. You're guilty of sin. You violate laws of Title 18. You violate 517. Don't you understand what the word shall furnish mean? Shall don't. Maybe you need to go to them same attorneys who it is carrying your water on top WTJX and in the media and ask them what shall furnish mean. Ask them what shall furnish ballot boxes mean. Playing games. Playing games. I got you on video saying some stupidness. It is not part of your parameters of certifying Ida Smith. But you go on the radio and you say that Ida Smith come here. Imagine somebody, me, like me, she said, in my 62 years, never vote in the Virgin Islands. Nobody know me. And I come here and I want to ask the people to vote. You're just saying it's not part of your certification, but you're just saying you have interfered in the election of the Virgin Islands in 24 in so many ways that you have no idea. You actually believe you're correct. I believe that the supervisor of elections actually, in her arrogance, believes that she is absolutely right. Because nobody with sense, all these legal eagles, I not no lawyer, all these legal eagles with Esquire, none of them ever come to you and tell you that shall furbish me, you ain't have a choice. When you get up and you say publicly that the board decided not to have a separate ballot for the representative position, the federal position, when the LASE is supposed to have a separate ballot, when did the board decide that? Where's the evidence? I had to just talk, and every time I talk, I tie up myself 10 times more. Cost-saving measures, that is not a reason to violate Title 18. Then you get up and you say, our machines are not connected to the internet. We're going to put that to the test. We're going to court. We're going to court. Our machines cannot be infiltrated. No algorithms could be put on them. But it's algorithms that run the machine that make it work how it work. I mean, I don't understand the nonsense I be talking and in the media. And you have people in the Virgin Islands are actually listening to the stupidness and not taking stock that what you're saying is foolishness. You go on your favorite show and I talk the most things and I just sounding like in a vacuum. That is the very reason why the Democrat Party in the United States lose the election to Donald Trump. Because CNN and MSNBC were fooling up our head in a bubble telling you, no, Kamala gonna win. Kamala could never win. The people rejected her long before Biden even dropped out the race. And we're doing it in the Virgin Islands because the consortium and the Daily News giving you propaganda. You believe that somehow we have elections. Well, I personally believe we may have selections, I don't know. But we're going to put it to the test in court. So take my silly advice. Give them corrupt board of election members a taste of their own medicine. Give them the same things that they give to you over the years. Give them backchat. Give them disruption. Give them litigation. They have done it for decades. They do what they want. Can you imagine? They had an audit in 2012, in 2013. And when they give the findings against the former supervisor of elections, Abramson, it's jail he should have go. They give you a slap on the wrist for fraud, forgery. And now you come as the new supervisor who sign off that you're going to change all those things. And you do worse. Again, I'm going to ask publicly, does the Board of Elections have a bank account? Does the Supervisor of Elections have a bank account? Which bank it in? Who are the signatories? These is basic questions that the legislature don't ask, and we wonder why the Virgin Islands is on the verge of collapse. Yes, I am ranting tonight and I'm raving tonight because the Board of Elections is the gateway to the corruption in the Virgin Islands. And if you don't cut it out at the gate, you get what we're getting now. Bad governance, indictments, lawsuits, an AG that don't know whether or not he should interpret. He conflicted because he used to work for Epstein people. Now he got to deal with Epstein enablers. When we gonna stop? So cut it off from the Board of Elections by taking the supervisor and the chairman to court. Let the court decide and let the people of the Virgin Islands see what the corrupt court gonna decide and who corrupted. We want to know if Liliana Bellardo O'Neil is corrupted. We want to know if Shakima Jones is corrupted. We want to know if Busholti is corrupted. We want to know if Springett is corrupted. We want to know if Hassel is corrupted. We want to know. Make them put their hand up and show how they corrupt. Not in board meetings that they keep a tree up so they could keep government employees from coming in or even looking on top teams. Only they could get away with being on a board and government time. Are you realize? They're in position where they could perform their duties as a member of the board of election and government time. Cleopatra Peter don't have that luxury. Barbara Lauren don't have that luxury. Harriet, you don't have that luxury. So just know this. While this is a little bit off of the topic of politicians and pedophiles, maybe it really isn't off of the topic of politicians and pedophiles. One thing I learned a long time ago, birds of a feather flock together. And if you don't have no space between Raymond Williams and John DeYoung, and you don't have no space between Raymond Williams and Albert Bryan, and you don't have no space between Raymond Williams and Stacey Plaskett, and you don't have no space between Novell Francis and the Democrat majority senators and Raymond Williams, therein lies your problem. Because politicians and pedophiles, we have just recently started to find out, run together. They pal around together. So go to court. You might learn more than you think. That's just my bitter advice. And so to my people of the Virgin Islands, people of the Caribbean, people of the world, people of the United States, I want you to join me in hoping and praying that just by divinity, just some force of righteousness from my mouth to God's ears, from all our collective mouths to God's ears, maybe just let President Donald Trump turn his gaze to the Virgin Islands and help the people of the Virgin Islands. I hear you, Queen. Whether it is through his pen, executive order, whether it is simply hearing our collective cry, that we do not want the Virgin Islands to implode. We do not want to see sufferation more than what we are already suffering in the Virgin Islands. This battle between good and evil, just like how President Trump has asked for the declassification of all the Epstein evidence and all the other corruption, if it must be God's will, still we hope. Good night, and God bless each and every one of you. Let's each tell somebody else just to take one for the people of the Virgin Islands.